Breaking. Stop scrolling. Because something just shifted in the Western Conference, and the balance of power may never look the same again. For weeks, the league has been whispering, front offices have been calling, agents have gone silent, and now, the dam has broken. The Golden State Warriors have done what many thought was impossible, reckless, or downright unfair. They've landed the kind of shooting guard that doesn't just fill a box score. He rewrites scouting reports, shatters defensive game plans, and forces contenders to ask one terrifying question. How do we stop this? Because if this move holds, if the pieces lock the way insiders believe they will, then let's be very clear right now. The Western Conference just entered survival mode. No one is safe. This isn't just about adding another scorer. This isn't about depth. This isn't even about star power in the traditional sense. This is about a perfect storm, fit, timing, desperation, and opportunity colliding at once. Golden State saw a window, and instead of hesitating, instead of playing it safe, they kicked the door down. Sources close to the situation say talks accelerated quietly. No leaks, no smoke screens, just direct conversations that moved faster than anyone outside the room realized. By the time rival executives started hearing noise, it was already too late. The framework was in place, the commitment was made, and now the league is waking up to a reality it didn't prepare for. A Warriors backcourt that already terrified defenses just got scarier. Think about the gravity of that for a second. Defenders already stretched themselves thin, trying to contain Stephen Curry, a player whose off-ball movement alone can warp an entire defense. Add another elite shooting guard into that ecosystem, someone who doesn't need the ball to punish you, who can create when needed, and who thrives in chaos, and suddenly the math stops making sense for opponents. 2 defenders aren't enough. 3 might not be either. This is the part where coaches lose sleep. League insiders describe the acquired guard as plug-and-play lethal. Not a project, not a maybe. A proven bucket getter with range that forces defenders to pick their poison from the logo to the corner. Someone who has punished switches, exposed slow rotations, and turned single mistakes into 7-point swings in under a minute. And here's the most dangerous part. He doesn't hijack an offense, he enhances it. Golden State's system has always rewarded IQ, spacing, and selflessness. That's why this move is being described behind closed doors as a nightmare scenario for the rest of the West. Because when you give the Warriors a player who understands timing, movement, and flow, the result isn't just highlights. It's suffocation. One assistant coach from a rival playoff team reportedly said, "If this works the way it looks on paper, you're not guarding them. You're just choosing how you want to lose." And that's before we even talk about the ripple effects. Because once this move went through, phones across the league lit up. Contenders started checking availability. Rebuilding teams raised prices. Middle-of-the-pack squads began quietly asking themselves whether standing pat was still an option. That's what real power moves do. They force everyone else to react. The Warriors, for the first time in years, aren't just defending a legacy, they're aggressively rewriting their present. There was a belief around the league that their window had narrowed, that the dynasty years were something to be respected, not feared. That time, mileage, and contracts had finally caught up. This acquisition laughs at that narrative. It says Golden State isn't done hunting. It says they're not interested in graceful decline. And it sends a message that echoes from Los Angeles to Denver to Dallas to Phoenix. We're still here. And now let's talk about the phrase that keeps popping up in internal memos and group chats across the league. No one is safe. Because this move didn't happen in isolation. It came with flexibility. It came with options. And perhaps most importantly, it came with a warning. If the Warriors were willing to make this kind of swing, what else are they willing to do? Veterans on expiring deals suddenly feel uneasy. Young players once considered untouchable are being discussed in hypotheticals. Coaches are rewatching film, trying to imagine new coverages that don't exist yet. Because Golden State didn't just add a shooter, they added leverage, and the timing couldn't be more brutal. The Western Conference is stacked. Every night feels like a playoff game. There are no easy outs. But in that chaos, one thing matters more than anything else: shot creation under pressure. This new shooting guard gives Golden State another release valve when defenses overcommit. Another late clock assassin. Another reason not to trap too high, not to help too aggressively, not to blink. One blink is all it takes. And if you think this is just about offense, think again. Coaches who've faced this guard talk about his competitiveness, his willingness to fight through screens, his ability to stay disciplined while still being aggressive. He's not a liability you hide. He's someone who buys into schemes and understands rotations. In other words, he fits the Warriors' DNA. Fans have already started running lineups in their heads. Closing units, small ball variations, death lineups reborn with a modern twist. And the scary thing? Most of them work. This is why the phrase dream shooting guard isn't exaggeration, it's literal. Golden State didn't just acquire talent. They acquired compatibility, and the rest of the league knows it. One Western Conference GM, speaking anonymously, summed it up perfectly. You can live with stars, you can game plan for stars. What you can't deal with is when the system gets stronger. That's what this does. Because systems don't age the way players do. Systems evolve. The NBA has seen super teams fail before. Talent without chemistry collapses. Ego without structure implodes. But Golden State's entire identity has always been about something different. Movement, trust, rhythm. This move doesn't disrupt that rhythm. It amplifies it. And now the question everyone is asking isn't whether the Warriors improved. It's by how much. Are they title favorites overnight? Not officially. Are they the team nobody wants to see in a 7-game series? Absolutely. Are scouting departments already burning through hours of film, trying to find weaknesses that may not exist? Without a doubt. And remember, this might not be the last domino. Because when a franchise shows it's willing to be aggressive, opportunities tend to follow. Agents listen, players notice, situations change. No one is safe doesn't just apply to opponents. It applies to the league. So as the dust settles and the highlights start circulating, understand what you're watching. This isn't just a transaction, it's a statement, a challenge, a reminder that dynasties don't always fade quietly. Sometimes they reload, and if this gamble pays off the way Golden State believes it will, the West isn't just competitive anymore. It's on notice. Because the Warriors just acquired a dream shooting guard, and the nightmare is just beginning. If you felt that shift too, if you're already imagining the playoff matchups, the late game shots, the defensive breakdowns waiting to happen, do not look away. Hit that like button, subscribe for daily NBA breakdowns, and drop a comment telling me one thing: who actually has an answer for this? Because right now, it doesn't look like anyone does.